So these movies really aren't that bad compared to today in some way or another.
Yeah,
Are we just
probably.
grumpy? Are we just grumpy? Is that
Well,
what it is?
it would be a cool premise for a podcast if we. This one,
I think a 22, 23-year-old person watching this.
no, and I'm glad you picked this one because I mean I this one powers through. This is this is bad. It's not good, Mike.
It wasn't okay.
No.
Okay.
Well, if you try to defend it, I'm gonna let you go. I'm
No,
not
no,
gonna
no, no.
fight you.
That's not. That's what I'm saying. We'll save this for later because
Yeah, yeah.
let's table this motion for now, and we'll
All
do.
right.
Let's have this little tete-a-tete on the actual recorded part at the near the on what we think about part.
the chair recognizes the gentleman from Clemson's request, and we
Yes,
will proceed.
we
All right.
yield. We yield at least 2 or 3 minutes, Congressman.
I will.
All right.
All right. Okay. The government committee sketch, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Oh, squares. All right, buddy. You ready? You ready to knock this one through?
Uh, yeah, I guess.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey kids, welcome to Grumpy Nostalgia, the second look cinema podcast, the show where we go back to the blockbuster new release wall of our memory, grab a copy off the shelf, pop it in the old VCR, and see what time has done to it. I'm Justin, that's Mike.
Justin, does your tuxedo feel a little snug to you?
It's quite a monkey suit.
Yeah.
And together we're here to help you navigate all the landmines littered down memory lane. Except for this week, we're not doing any of those things, so just ignore what I just said. So, Mike,
Well, we're still going to look back. Maybe we won't look
Yeah.
back in anger, but we're looking back.
okay. So this is the last show of season 3, and we were planning a much bigger season finale, but we quite frankly ran out of steam. And to be honest, we didn't really feel like watching a movie this time. So we're gonna disguise our lethargy by putting together a clip show, guys.
All right.
More of a retrospective, we'll call it. We want to talk about how much fun we had and how successful we felt season 3 was for our stupid little podcast. And so this is what this show is going to be. It's going to be a summation and a premiere of what we come up with as the Grumpy Awards, where we
What do we like a little theme song for that?
we honor and recognize the outstanding achievements of our podcast for the last year, much in a very self-serving way, we might add. So season 3, Mike, it was quite an adventure, right? We
Yes.
started very humbly with Con Air, as you recall.
Mm.
We got a little more niche, and invited some new friends on along the way. Covered some anime this year with Spirited Away. And then we covered some big hitters like Return of the Jedi and The Road Warrior, Princess Bride. What I felt, Mike, was most fun about this show was the new members of our team that got to join us. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yes, it's nice to have guests once in a while do help us out and show their love of pick movies like we have.
Yeah, so we feel a little empty not having them along for the ride here, but we're talking about Molly, we're talking about Aaron, Dr. K. Don't forget Headbang and Mosh Pit, our new friends. And, Emmy and Janice, who joined us this year. We had a lot of friends on this year, Mike, and they brought a lot of good movies, a lot of niche movies that we weren't typically going to watch, and we couldn't be happy with the way those shows turned out. So,
Yeah, it's always good to have a different perspective than two
yeah,
crusty old guys.
again, thanks to all you guys that joined us this year, and we hope that you will consider coming in for more collaborations in the years to come. So we mentioned this is going to be an award show of sorts. So me and Mike put our heads together as we were shoving food down our gullets at a local pizzeria, talked about potential ideas for the Grumpy Awards. And we thought for your listening entertainment, rather than just hear us yap about a movie that you've already seen 30 years ago, we take this episode and do a little retrospective of the year that was. So, Mike, I think we should just probably, without further ado, let's
Drum roll. Let's have the drum roll. Let's have the red carpet rolled out.
timpani.
Yeah.
Melissa Rivers was asking us who we were wearing before we came in. That went really
Yes.
well. I'm wearing Costco.
Mine says something old. Oh, Old Navy. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, hair and makeup, and we're all set to go, Mike. So without further ado, guys, we introduce the first annual Grumpy Awards. Cue fanfare. All right, so we thought we'd just take some turns recognizing some of the best achievements this season. I think, Mike, maybe you should head off the list with for your first nomination.
This is a retrospective, so I went a little further back. I decided to go analyze our first 3 seasons and check out what we've been doing and base some of these awards on what first came to mind when we would see these movies. And when you look back at some of them, I was amazed at some of the movies that we'd already done, and I'd already forgotten a few of them, but it was nice to kind of go back and relive these movies and then think of, I don't know, certain categories. We don't want to go with just best actor or best supporting actor or best actress and best director. Let's me and Justin got a little more creative on the Grumpies here. Like our first category, for instance, which is our comic relief character, or what I lovingly call the Steven Stucker Award. It goes to a character that appeared in one of the movies we did that best represented a comic relief character that added levity. I think you'll appreciate our 5 nominees.
Okay.
But we'll go through these just so you know a little behind the scenes here. Justin and I kind of did our list separately, but I'm sure we'll both agree on our choices, right, Justin?
Most likely, yeah. We don't have the courage to disagree with each other anymore.
All right, and presenting the award for comic relief will be me. Let's start off with our first nominee, Marty Feldman, playing Igor in Young Frankenstein. He stole the movie from me. Any scene he came in, it was like just a one-liner's dream. He's a mistake-prone assistant of Dr. Frankenstein, the movie played by Gene Wilder, and he's a scene stealer, and that's kind of the theme of a lot of these characters that we're going to nominate here. That they're just they even have a line you'll remember, like you take the one in the tub, and
you take the one in the tub.
And or he's stealing the brain that's marked Abby Normal, and
of course he is.
the werewolf werewolf lines, everything in there, and there's the hump that goes from left to the right, no brainer. So that's my first nominee. The second one would be Bill Paxton from the movie from 1986 Aliens, who played Private Hudson.
Okay.
He's one of the comic relief characters that provide you like levity in a really tough spot, like game over, man. You remember the quotes, this is a bug hunt,
Bug hunt, yeah.
He plays one of our space marines who sadly perishes, but he'll always be remembered as the one man who we laughed at because of his peril. Third nominee would be John Hannah from The Mummy. This was a tough one for me. This was in the movie from 1999. It's a tough one for me because he's so annoying, but he's kind of a throwback character. You think of like annoying characters in movies. You think of like, Stan Laurel or Lou Costello, or even like a Bob Hope in some of the On the Road movies.
Yeah.
But he plays that, character that just does dumb stuff and gets into bad situations. He's usually the one who causes the problems, and it leads to some wackiness, but he's not really known for his one-liners or funniness. It's just he's the comic relief. And there you go, John Hannah. My fourth nominee would be Gary Busey from Point Break, who plays a Greek FBI agent named Angelo Pappas. He's Johnny Utah, his babysitter, his partner. He's a little fatter, a little slower, and a little more pathetic than Utah, but
I can relate.
He could eat the ass end of a rhino, and he likes to call criminals squid brain. Sadly, he meets his end too in a shootout scene, which has a dramatic slow motion death, and got to enjoy that. So
sounds like comic relief is dangerous business.
It is. It can get you into some peril.
In the dumb movies we watch anyway.
His classic Utah get me too.
Get me too.
That will live in infamy. And my last nominee would be Franklin from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, played by Paul Partain.
Oh, nice deep cut.
Yes, he is Sally's brother in the movie, and he plays a paraplegic who, as we found out, he's kind of a method actor or was a method actor and stayed on the set in his wheelchair the whole time, even though he can walk. Kind of interesting. Um,
Method.
he's done his movie role kind of like is full of little mishaps and funny sayings, although he's not really joking. You know, who can forget where he has an accent trying to pee in a cup and rolls down the hill? Love that one. Kind of like John Hannah in The Mummy, he's simultaneously annoying and whiny, but unintentionally hilarious.
And
he's very curious about slaughterhouses. He
yeah,
apparently has an uncle who works in one, and
bite,
unfortunately,
bites.
Justin,
Yeah,
like you kind of presaged earlier,
bites the big one.
he does. He's actually our first chainsaw victim in the movie, so
Yeah,
that's his claim to fame. So
there you go.
that's my fifth nominee, Paul Partain,
Okay.
and the winner, drumroll, would be for me Gary Busey in Point
Ah,
Break. You know,
nice.
he's so goofy and just he's likable, and unlike a couple of our other characters here, and
Uh-huh.
just he makes a great impression, and he's Gary Busey, so he wins.
Wow.
I hope you're going to accept his award
I
for
will
me.
accept. I
Oh
will
yeah,
accept on behalf of Gary because he doesn't know what side of this stage to walk off of. I'm sure.
I'm sure.
On the search for butter sausage, no doubt. So that's a great one, Mike. All right, so I will take the next category. So to me, it was all about memories, right? So misty watercolored memories, Mike,
The way we
the
were.
way we were. It's a little bit painful, a little bit bittersweet going back because I really did enjoy this. I'm kind of sad that it's over. But speaking of pain, I want to talk about my first category, which is the most painful accent in a comedy or drama.
Good one.
So then the nominees are Nicolas Cage
Mm.
for his southern accent in Con Air,
Yeah, that one
which,
kind of went in and out, didn't
well, I think he spent extra time in Alabama to get the accent right, and he fancies himself a simple kind of man.
it?
Uh, but I forget his character's name, unfortunately.
I can't get past
Is
Castor Troy, but it's
Was it
not
Cameron Poe?
Poe.
Yeah.
Yes, Poe.
But he played the hillbilly Hellraiser in Con Air that
No,
mumbled his way through the several well-written pages of dialogue for this movie. The next nominee is Keanu Reeves, Cool Breeze on the Mountain, show favorite, for his English accent in Bram Stoker's
yes.
Dracula. There's a wonderful supercut sizzle reel of his 10 minutes of dialogue from this movie on YouTube. I encourage everybody to check that out. Well, I'm not done with Keanu yet. We'll get to him a little bit later, but I felt his forced accent, which he's not very still to this day not very proud of, but it's for prosperity or notoriety at least. I want to call that one out. And my final nominee here is John Travolta. For whatever language he was trying to speak as the Cyclo in Battlefield Earth.
Oh,
There was an
yes.
accent there he was trying to pull off. But you notice, Mike, all the Cyclos had different accents depending on who the actors were.
Yeah, it's kind of weird,
Yeah.
right? They had been on Earth a long time, but hadn't all kind of commingle their accents. It was all different. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's mostly unpleasant for the entire duration of the film, but I don't know. He hammed it up, let's say.
Oh yeah,
That was the character Turl. Well, I remember Turl from Battlefield Earth,
Pearl.
Mike. And the Grumpy Award goes to Nicolas Cage
Oh, it's
for his
perfect.
southern accent, Con Air. I think he stands out among the crowd here. He excelled well beyond the threshold of pain that most of us can take. And a very painful movie. You remember certain things, and I think one of the top three that I remember about Con Air is his horrible accent. So that's my first category, Mike. So, all
Very good.
right, presenting the next award will be Mike James.
Yes. Wait, let me adjust my bow tie. Now, our next award is kind of a mouthful, and it would be hard to put it on our trophy base, but we'll attempt to have it etched in here. But it is a best performance by a doomed mode of transportation. Um,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, this is a very niche award, but it's coveted by many.
Okay.
Um, little inside baseball here. I want to go through the process of like which nominees did not make the cut, So indulge me here a minute, Justin, while I
Okay.
go through a little sizzle reel of some of the
Sure. Yeah.
vehicles that did not make it, and a sad salute to some of these.
I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see where this is going. So
Ah,
I'm excited.
all right. First would be the space shuttle, the Independence, that
Oh
sadly
yeah.
crashed before it could
Sadly, yes.
unload its payload of a nuclear bomb that was going to blow up the asteroid in Armageddon.
Uh-huh.
All the vehicles John Cusack drives in Con Air either crash or
Uh,
explode or something.
I hope they were
Um,
insured. Yeah.
that's right. Horses that are outrun by camels in The Mummy.
Very nice. Yeah.
Truman's sailboat. You knew that thing didn't have a chance
No.
going to get closer to that wall. You knew they were going to build up a storm and destroy his little dinky sailboat.
Yeah.
Lithgow's helicopter and Cliffhanger.
Never
That
stood a
was
chance.
that was doomed. Any Cold Trickle vehicle in Days of Thunder,
Yep.
any of those Chevrolets, you knew were going to crash. He wrecks them. And the Tamale steamer and Predator.
There it is. That's what I was waiting for.
You knew that vehicle was
That's
going
the
down.
money.
So there, and those are the ones that didn't make it. And now presenting our nominees. First of all, we have from the movie Speed from 1994, we have the bus that Annie and Jack were riding in. It
Yeah.
has to be kept over 50 miles an hour. Bus number 2525 for those who are
Nice.
keeping count.
Very good.
Even on LA freeways, it has to go 50 miles an hour. And believe it or not, its explosion is not the climax of the movie.
No, not even close. Yeah.
No, and too bad a ship was used in Speed 2. And too bad they made a Speed 2, but that's another point. Anyway, the bus is rigged with explosives and for the morning rush hour. And I don't want to spoil this movie for anybody, but it does explode. So,
Oh,
yeah, too bad for bus 2525. Next nominee would be Bill's Dodge Ram truck, the red truck from Twister, the movie from 1996.
way
That
back. Yeah.
lasts most of the movie. It carries the Dorothy, the scientific tornado measuring equipment thingy,
Yeah.
and then it carries Bill and Helen Hunt's Joe through cornfields, a house that blows away, several mini tornadoes, and cows, and all with the background of Eddie Van Halen riffing his guitar.
Best part.
Third nominee would be The Houseboat from Cape Fear, 1991 movie, where there's actually, Justin, I found this out too. There's actually a song called Houseboat from that movie soundtrack by Elmer
Oh,
Bernstein.
really?
Yeah, good stuff. But it's the Belden's family houseboat, and it's taken out near the end of the movie to get away from Max Cady, the evil Robert De Niro character, and is docked on Cape Fear River. And during, once they get on the boat, Max gets on there and he tries to, assault Sam's wife and daughter. He
Yeah.
gets some lighter fluid sprayed in his face. He gets on fire from his stupid cigar and he jumps in the water. By the way, there's a raging storm going on. The houseboat's called Moana, by the way. I think it means it's kind of similar to Keanu, so you got that going for you.
Yeah.
And it falls apart in the storm. Max Cady drowns, and we get Jessica Lange in the mud.
Hashtag Jesse. Buddy
Hashtag
Jessica Lange. Yeah.
muddy Jessica Lange. Nominee number 4 would be the Orca from the 1975 movie Jaws. And you don't need a bigger boat than this one. This is Captain Quint's fishing boat. It takes out Brody and Hooper, and they go out off Amity Island and try to find the shark. The best moments in the movie take place in the boat. You have,
Yeah.
Robert Shaw's Quint talking about the Indianapolis and it's just a dramatic, and that's where they first meet Jaws and you actually see it. And, Quint over revs the engines, he fries the radio, he ends up getting eaten, and the boat sinks. So there goes the Orca. Our 5th nominee would be the Bluesmobile from the Blues Brothers, or 1980 John Landis movie. The Bluesmobile is actually a 1974 Dodge Monaco, and it has an 8-track player in it. And it was a used police vehicle from Mount Prospect, I think, police department. And it was actually in the filming of, they used a California Highway Patrol cop car.
Yeah.
It has cop tires, cop suspension, and a cop motor. That's right. It rides through a shopping mall. It outruns half of the state and city police of Chicago. It flies in the air multiple times. It can carry extremely large loudspeakers. And at the very end, it finally falls apart in Daly Center, which is for me, one of the best sight gags in the movie.
Yeah.
And the winner is Orca from Jaws. There's a
Nice.
no-brainer. I mean, that's the
No-brainer.
most iconic, image of that movie is that boat sinking, and the Roy Scheidt at the very end, smile, you son, and it's just for me, the
Yeah.
classic.
Just completely relevant to that whole movie, really.
Yeah.
So, so speaking of relevant, I'm going to go the other way, Mike.
All
And
right.
I was, analyzing season 3 at least, and I wanted to kind of limit because we can go through a lot of these
Oh
for
yeah.
our characters, but I felt that there were inconsistencies in some of the casting this year. So I invented
Mm.
the John Hurt Award for cinematic irrelevance, uh,
Oh wow.
referencing John Hurt's role in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull,
Good
where
one.
he didn't say anything or do anything, and no one could figure out why he was in that movie. But I felt there were some instances of that in season 3 that were quite nice, and the nominees are Benjamin Bratt playing the role of Alfredo Garcia
Uh,
in Demolition Man.
God, I completely forgot about that movie.
He's the partner of America's sweetheart Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
Not quite sure what he's doing in this movie other than just filling up a call sheet. But he again, I don't no character evolution there whatsoever. Just going through the movie, going through the motions, collecting
You think
attention.
it's probably some scenes on the cutting room floor, possibly, maybe.
Possibly, we talked about how much probably got cut out of that movie. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Mike.
Like, and too bad it wasn't Rob Schneider.
Yeah. So, the next nominee goes to Bridget Wilson Sampras, who played Whitney slash Meredith in the movie Last Action Hero.
Oh yeah.
She was Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter
Yeah.
on film, at least.
That was a weird
She,
one.
she was just kind of tacked on. She appeared in the middle of the movie for a few scenes and then went away forever. But I don't know what that was all about. And the next nominee is a guy named Grayson McCouch. Mike, you know Grayson McCouch?
No.
All right. He was Dusty on Days of As the World Turns. He actually got a 2006 got a Daytime Emmy nomination at least.
Hmm.
But he played the role of Gruber in Armageddon, Mike.
Oh my gosh. We lost Gruber.
We lost Gruber. Gruber didn't make it, guys, as
Oh.
anybody's seen this movie can attest to. But what was interesting here is that, Gruber's never mentioned except for his nearly 3-minute death montage scene.
Yeah, you're right.
Right in the middle of this climactic movie, they're talking about, hey, Gruber didn't make it. And I'm like,
Who was that guy? It was
who's
Gruber.
Gruber? He's that corpse over there. But and unfortunately, Owen Wilson suffered the same fate. I didn't notice him dying either. And you can make the argument that Owen Wilson was in the running for this category as well in that movie, but he was just along for the
He
ride.
was just playing himself, man.
Yeah, yeah. So those are a very competitive class of nominees there, Mike. But my winner is going to have to be Grayson Couch as in the role of Gruber.
Yeah.
Just to be that irrelevant. I think the fact that he was called out, the dichotomy of him getting called out for such, attention, given his relevance to the plot, just really pushes him over the edge here in terms of the other nominees. So good job, Gruber, and that's the winner. So, all
Nice.
right, so this is the time of this awards shows typically where they take a little break and do like a death montage or a retrospective. And,
Oh no, yeah. Those
people
we
we
lost this
lost,
year.
those we
Wow.
lost, or special technical awards. So the closest thing me Mike could find to that was we want to talk about wigs.
What's that on your head? What's that on your head? I say, what's that on your head? What's that on your head?
And how we don't suffer wigs. Wigs have been a staple of us. The bane of our show. We love to make fun of wigs. So we thought this would be a nice little time, a halftime show, so to speak, to kind of call out some of our cinematic experience with wigs over the course of the podcast. So, Mike, you wanna kind of start the conversation? Maybe talk about your retrospective on some of your favorite wigs through the
Yeah,
course.
obviously we've dealt with stuntmen who wear wigs, and
Yeah,
it makes it really obvious. The Rock, you see it, and you just kind of like, that's not the actor. Come on, it's a good try. Even in Face Off where they're having the fight on the boat, you can tell, and it's funny because it's always the hair. Usually the body shape is pretty good, and they get that pretty right, but the
yeah,
hair is always a giveaway. You can always tell it's a wig from behind or even from the side, and you can tell, oh, stuntman. And nine times out of 10, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, you'll know it's a stuntman by the bad hairdo.
Yeah. We can't explain why we think this is funny in case you're curious, guys. So just deal with us for a few more minutes.
But there's, I thought of a few that were, they're legitimate. They're not, these are not, B roll or stuntmen wigs. These are actual actors in the movie that were wearing them.
Okay.
Some pull it off convincingly, some not. I mean, some are actually there, like Gene Hackman's toupee in Superman 2. I mean, he's obviously wearing a toupee. He's Lex Luthor. He's supposed to be bald, but the whole movie's wearing this toupee, except
I
for when he's
think he he,
rescued from jail.
he got outshined by E.G. Marshall's.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That's what. Dang it!
Sorry, did I step on it? Sorry, Mike.
You stepped all over my toes. Yeah, E.G. Marshall's wig as the president was, reprehensible. Do you want me to keep going, or you want to do one, or
Just go ahead and
I'll go ahead. Let me just
rattle
run
off
through.
your list. And
It's
then
a short list. It's not
Yeah.
very long. We got Tom Cruise's Lestat in Interview with a Vampire, which to me, that's a nice head of hair right there.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he pulls it off, I think. Christopher Walken in Batman Returns, the wild and crazy kind of Albert Einstein hair.
Forgot about that one. That's a good one.
That's a crazy wig right there.
Yeah.
Charlton Heston in Tombstone. He's not in the movie much. He's just he's barely able to sit on his horse. But why? I mean, he was known for some bad rugs, but this one was pretty rough, and it left a memory for me. And then
Yeah.
then you had kind of a funny wig moment for me, which was Bruce Willis in 12 Monkeys. Just the wig he wears in the airport near the end where he's trying to hide his identity and
Yeah.
kill the bad guy. It's just a goofy mustache and a goofy wig, and it's
Oh, when he looked like David Crosby.
that was it. I'd forgotten. I remember we made that reference when we did that movie, but yeah, that's what. Those are some wigs that stood out to me.
Well, those are very good, Mike. So yeah, I share the same appreciation you do. I thought it was fun. Bruce Willis, a stuntman in Die Hard, had a
Yeah.
fantastic wig. I'm going to get back to that here in a minute. We can't forget about William Shatner in Star Trek.
Hey man, that's his natural hair. Come
Yeah,
on.
of course it is. Sure it is. We don't want to forget about Keanu's gray hair, his gray wig that he
Oh, yeah,
that
that's a
he
good one.
wore on and off. Sometimes
Yeah.
he had gray hair, sometimes he did not. On that theme, we had Madeline Kahn's wig at the end of Young Frankenstein, which
Yeah.
cracks me up. You don't want to forget Leatherface's wig, which is essentially
Oh,
the whole head. Whole head. He went so far as to put the whole head as well together. Travolta's dreads. You don't forget about Travolta's dreadlocks.
Already have.
Now you're not going to, but I mentioned how funny that we think it is that stuntmen wear wigs and things like that. But you know what? I'm willing to forgive that because I watched the new Indiana Jones, the one that just came out, and
Wow.
rather than hire a stuntman, they did all like they de-aged Harrison Ford to go do a scene back in the 40s, and it was all CGI and deep faked faces and things like that. And I was realizing that it was okay, it was thrilling, but
Yeah.
it was looking at a cartoon of Harrison Ford, and I think I much would rather have seen a stuntman doing
Yeah,
doing practical effects during this scene.
yeah, I was
So,
gonna say it is like the difference between practical effects and like
yeah.
CGI. It's like
So
you can there's some things now you can watch. You obviously know it's against a green screen or CGI or a practical effect. You're like, wow, did they really do that
well,
with a real person?
yeah, like the first 20 minutes of this movie is just what would conventionally be a very thrilling scene, but it took me out of it because the first scene, the reveal of him is really good. But then it's just like then you're looking for it. It just
Mhm.
takes you out of the plot. But so
Yeah,
I've softened a little bit on my critique of wigs, but not enough for us to stop making fun of it. So
no, never,
there you
never
go.
stop.
So there you go. The 2024 retrospective on wigs, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. All right, so let's get back to the awards, Mike, because we're getting the playoff music
Oh
right
yeah.
from our producer. So why don't we get back to the awards? And Mike, you can have the next nomination.
Yeah, this is that third hour or fourth hour time of the Oscars where the big media awards start showing up.
Yeah.
My next award is what I call the scene stealing, scene chewing villain award, or the Crankcore award,
Okay.
um,
Yes.
which is devoted solely to villains we had in some of these movies that almost leave a bigger or better impression on you than the our hero, our protagonist. My first nominee is this movie's going to come up a couple times. Will be Die Hard from 1988. And the villain and played by Alan Rickman is named Hans Gruber, who leads a group of international terrorists to take over Nakatomi Plaza. And he kind of has this calm, cool demeanor. He's very, it's almost more scary that he is such a calm guy through most of the movie. He has a lot of
Yeah.
subtle but he's really, understated anger. And he's not prone to hammy, speeches or smiling even.
Yeah.
Um, he plays the role so well, you almost cheer and chuckle when he finally does his little pirouette off the side of the building and has that dramatic death scene. You're almost kind of like, look at him go. You know what I mean? It's just
Yep.
he's very unlikable, but he plays that role so well that
Yep.
he really is a great villain.
Yeah.
And our second nominee is Humongous from 1981's Road Warrior. He's played by Kjell Nielsen, who was in real life a Swedish bodybuilder. But in this movie, he's the Ayatollah of rock and roll. And he leads a group of bandits called not the Smokers. That was in the other movie. But he leads a bandits that steal and pillage oil and wastelands of Australia. And he wears his signature hockey mask. And he has lines and threats that kind of come off like a wrestling heel doing a spot like WCW spots or something in the back room.
Yeah.
He has the great lines like "Fear is our ally" or "Need to unleash my dogs of war." Just he doesn't say a lot, but it's all in the presentation. And it's like it's a lot of menacing. There's a lot of pointing and like you go over there kind of stuff, and it's so good. I mean, like I say, it's not really your typical villain, but he unfortunately he does. I don't want to give you spoilers, but
Yeah, we gravely disappoint him. Just ask him.
My next nominee is from Rocky 3 from 1982, and it's played by Mr. T, and his character's name is Clubber Lang. He, to me, embodies like the whole meme generating villain that's like known for his quotes.
Yeah.
And kind of like Hans Gruber, he doesn't smile either. He propositions Adrian. Yeah, he has a hand in Mick's heart attack. He destroys Rocky in the first meeting, and has a lot of famous lines like "I pity the fool" and "I'll show you a real man," and "I'm the baddest man in the world," and "I don't need no has-beens in my corner." And of course, prediction pain is one of my favorites. But
like when he said, "I'm going to crucify him real bad."
Dead meat. But yeah, so that would be our third nominee. And now we're into what I call how the Academy usually has a couple of awards for longevity or body of work. These next two nominees are not really known for one particular role, but two roles. Count them, Justin, two in our podcast. And our first nominee is Dennis Hopper, who plays not only Howard Payne from Speed, who's a like disgruntled ex-cop that wasn't given his retirement pay and gets a gold watch, whatnot. He's known for his pop quizzes and love of watching college football in the morning. He's very motivated to blow up stuff, and he calls himself eccentric. So he's a meticulous planner, but he doesn't see that low-hanging light in the subway.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't. And then his second movie from Dennis Hopper would be Waterworld, our 1995 movie we did, where he plays the deacon, who's a leader of this group called the Smokers.
There you go.
Who could also show up in Road Warrior. But they're on a quest to find dry land. And he's kind of one of those hybrid characters. It's a comic relief guy and a villain. I had to kind of hesitate. I almost thought about him as a comic relief guy because he's so you can't take him seriously. And I think that's part of the charm of it, I guess you could say. He wants to kill the Mariner, played by Kevin Costner, and he doesn't like him very much. Calls him a turd that won't flush.
Rude.
Yeah, I know, right? And he's somehow related to Captain Hazelwood from the Exxon Valdez. So, we have to look up his lineage, but he meets his end there at the end where after a couple of near-death moments on his boat exploding and then his little Sea-Doo explodes in midair. And one of the most ridiculous death scenes for a villain ever, but hey, it's funny. It's like Hans Gruber. You laugh when it happens. So they're my four nominees. I almost forgot. Oh my gosh. I'm going to give this guy the award even before I announce his name. And Justin, I know you know who it is, but I don't leave the audience in suspense. It's Ronnie Cox, who not only plays Dick Jones from 1987's RoboCop, but he also
Yeah.
plays Velos Cohagen from the movie Total Recall. And
I never caught the first name.
Velos,
Yeah.
yeah. I had to look that one up. I had no idea either. I always just saw Cohagen. You know, you could hear Schwarzenegger say, Cohagen, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get you. In RoboCop, he's a local Detroit man who's a developer of Ed 209. And he's there's nothing really remarkable about him. He's just an evil corporate goon who wants to kind of squash his competitors and the RoboCop project and all those behind it. Meets his end by falling through a glass ribbon skyscraper after being shot by RoboCop, and when he actually has to be fired. So
Yeah.
he has one scene, Justin, that he appears via video in the movie to wish one of his competitors farewell by grenade, and that kind of leads me to the next movie, Total Recall, where that's what he's known for is his video conferencing skills. He is the tyrannical ruler of Mars, which has apparently a turbinium-rich planet, which I didn't know about.
Yeah.
He's also hiding an ancient alien reactor, and he's not very effective at his job. He uses the video conferencing to keep in touch with his disappointing henchmen, and maybe he uses a little too much glass. He has a big, distracting fishbowl in his office, and for some reason they decided to make this roofing glass, and it explodes. Of course, you see that one coming,
Yeah.
and as his eyeballs bulge out, Justin, it's safe to say he wasn't going to be home for cornflakes.
Just cornflakes. There it is.
There you go. And there's your winner, Ronnie Cox.
Very good, Mike. I saw that one coming from the first pitch, but it was
Hey,
nice to finally get there.
you got to get it's the road. It's the road there.
Yeah,
It's the drive, not the destination.
All right. Well, I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. So I I love other people's children.
Mhm.
I don't think I could ever have one of my own. And so whenever I see a kid on film, I always think about, wow, that's that kid. I don't know if I can handle that kid. So that prompted me to come up with the most annoying child in cinema
Oh
category,
wow.
Mike. So, and we deal with a lot of popcorn movies, and a lot of times they'll throw in a kid there just to hit that demographic. But sometimes they the more they shoehorn the character in, then the more likely it is for me to get upset. So I'm going to talk about a couple of my favorite ones here. So the first nominee for most annoying child in a cinematic movie is Austin O'Brien,
Oh
who we dubbed a
yes.
90s kid. Mike,
Nice
we don't remember
kid.
his real name, but we're talking about the kid from The Last Action Hero. He was in almost every scene of this movie, and I don't know. I think in hindsight, of course, they probably could have worked a little bit harder on the casting. This kid just seemed kind of what's the word, Mike? Annoying. Uh,
Ah, there we go.
yeah, he just he didn't
It's
have
it's yeah.
enough
It's one thing to be annoying, but his acting chops were lacking
yeah.
too for even for a kid.
Yeah, he didn't have what kids call Riz today. Enough to carry that movie. You think you're gonna need, when you're going up against Arnold, you're gonna have to get some sort of lightning caught in the bottle, and they didn't catch anything. So that's my first one here. Um, the next one is from one of our favorite movies, Mike. Tina Majorino,
Oh yeah,
who played little Enola in
the tattooed
Waterworld,
girl.
the
Yeah.
tattooed lady, who had she had a big circle with an arrow on top of her. It was supposed to be this cryptic map to dry land. Um, I think she was maybe 9 or 10 years old in this movie, if lucky. I don't see a kid, an 8-year-old kid, sitting around for a back tattoo. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. Um, what I like best about her, Mike, is she's wise beyond her years. When she gets captured by or kidnapped by, as you mentioned, Dennis Hopper, she essentially she's got these wise sage monologues that she rattles off about
Oh yeah.
the threat of the Mariner. He doesn't have a name, so death can't find him, Mike. This is one of her lines. She also said,
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. She reads it as he's going through the boat,
yeah,
killing people. Yeah.
he can hide in the shade of the high noon
New
sun.
son. Yes. Oh,
I mean, where does a little girl learn to talk like that?
this is a girl who's eating crayons like an hour earlier.
Exactly. That's my point. Where did she even come from?
I don't know.
So I found that annoying. hence the
Mm.
nomination. And my third one is Chihiro, voiced by the actress Davy Chase in the movie Spirited Away. She's a
Ah.
phenomenal character, but let's face it, she's very, very, very annoying, which is pretty much on par for every Japanese kid in a movie.
Yeah, so
uh,
much. Yeah.
it Me and Mike are big fans of Mystery Science Theater, and every time they covered a kaiju movie with Japan, there's always a kid. Those are kid movies. The kids are the stars of the movie, and I use the word stars in the biggest air quotes I could possibly find. But there's a lot of gasping, a lot of running, a lot of
Yeah.
upsettingly short pants. And Chihiro in this movie ultimately finds her way and becomes the hero of the story. But for the most part, she's gasping and crying and falling and just clutching to herself around. But I had to throw somebody in there to counterbalance, to offset Mike. So
Sure.
yeah. So those are our three wonderful nominees, and the winner is going to be Scabby Hands himself, Austin O'Brien.
Oh, thank you.
We talked about there's a scene here where he's a very disturbing close up of him eating popcorn with hands that looks like he's been in an MMA fight, shoving dirty popcorn into his mouth, and I think that's where he lost me right there. But there you go, Austin O'Brien, who successfully
Great.
was in the
He,
movie.
he
Yeah,
has the hands of a hobbit.
yeah. Hobbits had great wigs too, by the way. So,
That's true.
uh, but Austin went on to do a couple other movies. He did My Girl 2, and then he kind of
Mm.
started his own photography business and got knew enough to get out of the game. So he saved faced a little bit there, but that's my winner for most annoying child. So there you go. All right,
Awesome.
Mike, let's let's hit our last nomination for each of us. So let's bring it home. Let's bring out the big guns. So you're
All
up
right.
next.
Yes, this is oh, I was just hang on, I was just handed a card. Um, oh, okay. So this is the award for movie that aged the Best Picture
Oh,
Award.
nice. You went a different way. I like that.
Also known as the Lord of the Rings Award.
Okay.
Um, and what is my card? Oh, these powerful stories reflect another time, told in a way to capture the viewer's imagination through themes we all understand. And with this, the Grumpy Academy has nominated 5 movies for the coveted Best Nostalgic Picture Award. A movie we believe that could be released today and be received just as warmly as it was in its initial release. Wow. It's
Very
very
nice.
wordy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And looks like we have 5 movies here. The first one for us would be Princess Bride from 1987. If you're going to see this same kind of, I don't know, I'm going to say theme in all these movies. They're movies that are kind of a capsule of a certain time or even a certain other universe, but
Yeah.
they don't have, there's movies like we just talked about, Last Action Hero or Con Air, that have so many references to like really bad, either the soundtrack's bad, the special effects are dated. It doesn't take long to date a special effect, but with a movie like Princess Bride, it's just such a timeless fairy tale
Yeah.
story that you could have had this movie from 1987 come out today and it would be just as well received. It's the Rob Reiner movie that's kind of told as a story to a bedridden Fred Savage by Peter Falk, and it goes through just a glorious story and well written. It had it's the themes of the damsel in distress who's not really in distress, and it has the evil. It's just really well done. So that would be my first nominee. A second one would be Goodfellas from 1990. Again, it's one of those movies. It's timeless. There's nothing in there that really dates it as far as the current year it was created in 1990, but it's a nice snapshot. The music gets you involved in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s even. And again, it's Martin Scorsese. It's a fabulous movie. What else can you say about some of these?
Right.
Um, the third nominee would be Raiders of the Lost Ark from 1981. Steven Spielberg and George Lucas kind of behind in the scenes too, but it's just a great movie. Again, it's 1930s. You're immersed in it. It's the story is so well told.
Yep.
It's funny. I can talk for an hour about some of these stupid comic relief characters, but these best pictures, there's nothing else to be said. Everybody should
Yeah.
know the themes and what goes on and why they would be so good today. My fourth nominee would be Spirited Away. this one's kind of a cheat because it's an animated movie in a way. It's from 2001. Animated pictures, they can age, but they don't. I mean, you watch a movie like this, and you even saw it recently with, I think it was Boy in the Heron. It was another Miyazaki movie that came out that did
Yeah.
really well at the theater for its small budget. And these movies are so good. They're so well told. Annoying girl aside, it's fabulous. I loved it. The
Yeah.
animation's amazing. And then my last nominee would be Steven Spielberg again in Jaws from 1975. This was
Yeah.
everyone knows it as the first summer blockbuster movie, and it's a tour de force. It's just again, it's kind of dated a little bit the 70s stuff at the start, and I think
Yeah.
what there's a Captain Tennille song somewhere on the beach scene. I can't remember exactly, but it's that for some reason that's going to date it. But man going after a beast in the water, it's just so well done again. And my winner would be Raiders of the Lost Ark. Again, it's one of the best action movies ever made, if not the best. And I know you just, like you said, you just recently saw the new Indiana Jones movie, and
Yeah.
you probably wanted to watch this movie again to just kind of, clean
Yeah.
your palate. But that is our winner, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Just that's a great pick, Mike. Couldn't agree more. There's literally not a wasted scene in that movie.
Yeah,
So
and like I said, there's so many other movies that we
yeah.
can discard that they would still do well today, but they date themselves, really really badly. Like even
Okay.
a movie like Speed or Face Off, they just
All right. Well, thank you, Mike. That's great. I'm going to bring it home here. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to be the grumpy guy here. We talked about, not being a perfect movie, no wasted scenes. In the culmination of all the movies we watched in season three, there were three particularly horrible scenes that I thought needed to be called out, whether the movie was good or not. It's often the case where there are scenes that we just don't want to remember. So therefore, I'm dubbing this the George C. Scott Turn It Off Award for unbearable scenes in cinema. Um, the nominees are Sylvester Stallone and Talia Shire playing Rocky and Adrian respectively in the movie Rocky
oh
3.
yes,
There's a short little scene here where they're in bed together. This is shortly after the Hulk Hogan Thunder Lips fight, like
yes.
where they're going to Rocky's retirement announcement the next day. And if you remember here, Mike, I know you really like this scene, so this is for your benefit as well. Rocky is trying to get Adrian to sing a song,
Oh yeah.
the doo 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 song. Mike, I want you to know that that song is "Take You Back" by Frank Stallone.
Oh no.
So not only is he
Pushing. He's still pushing.
not only is embarrassing himself, he's
Yeah.
doing it as a result of uh,
Do 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 do
slinging
do.
for his brother's fledgling music career.
Oh my God, I didn't thought of that song. Oh yeah.
You're welcome, Mike. So,
Thank you. Now it's in my head.
and I
Appreciate it.
like that Adrian can't do the do do do. She does the do do
Yeah.
do. So that's a great scene. I think we talked about this one enough, but I feel obligated to throw it on the list regardless. This is Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler
Oh,
as AJ and Grace, respectively, in the movie Armageddon. And of course, we're talking about the legendary scene where Ben Affleck is
mm, amazing.
uh, doing a Mutual of Omaha type thing where he's got this horrible accent, Mike, where he's trying to do his best.
What
Uh,
was he doing? Was he doing a David Attenborough,
I
or
think
was
he
it
was
like
trying to do
a
a David
kind of
Attenborough.
an Australian tint to it?
Yeah, but he's using a prop of a giraffe animal cracker,
Mm.
running in and out of Liv Tyler's immaculate belly button. All all while the song don't want to
Yeah,
close
that's
your eyes is played
yeah.
by Liv's dad in the
Her dad.
background. That scene is legendary and it's do chill meter. We talked about it enough the first time around, but that had to be brought in as well.
Mm.
And so the next nominee, there's just a stiff competition here, Mike. You can see already
Uh,
is we got Steve Buscemi coming in as the character
oh yes.
Garland Green in the movie Con Air. Um, any scene that he's in is pretty much revolting. But I want to talk about the scene in particular that wins the nomination, at least, is when he's sitting down with the actress Lauren Drett, who plays Little Girl. This is shortly after the first plane crash, Mike, where he
Yes, they're in the
wanders off
desert.
site and he wanders on this picnic table and he's having a conversation with this girl. And the dialogue here is fantastic, Mike. She asks him, "Are you sick?" And he goes, "Why do you ask?" She says, "Well, you look sick." He goes, "Well, I am sick." And she says, "Well, do you take medicine?" And he says, of course, "There's no medicine for what I have."
Uh,
And then I think it's implied that he eats her. So, but
yeah, that's weird, right?
not
Yeah.
before they do a rousing rendition of "He's got the whole world in his
Oh,
hands."
yeah.
By this time in that movie, I was at my wit's end, and so I didn't think I could take anymore, and I was right. When this scene came up and showed me that they could, there's something under the bottom, Mike, and they actually went lower than the bottom. So there you go.
So that was yeah, I couldn't remember if they actually showed her. They'd done it. She waves bye bye to
I think
him.
she did way bye bye,
So they
yeah.
do at least kind of close the loop and don't
But
leave
they
that in your head.
but they did something worse. They made you think that he was going to eat her.
Oh, yeah, I know,
She
right? When they,
she was
yeah.
she was the MacGuffin here. It's, there you go. So,
Hopefully there's no scenes on the cutting room floor they left out.
I hope so. It's just
Mm,
awful. So those are your nominees, Mike, and of course the winner here is going to have to be Sylvester Stallone and Talia Shire. It's the
yeah.
smallest scene here, but for me, for some reason, it was the cheapest one because I think because it was just I can guarantee Frank Stallone says, "Hey Sly, you got to use my song here." Uh,
Yeah.
that could have been any
Sure,
50s
bro.
doo-wop.
Yeah.
That could have been any 50s doo-wop song. Could have been anything, but Frank said, "No, you got to use my 70s disco hit." Uh,
Oh yeah. Let me add a quick honorable mention for
sure. Yeah.
most uncomfortable scene for me from the last season. Rod and his tidy whities in Nightmare on Elm Street before he gets is
Oh,
killed in the movie.
that's a good one, Mike. I never thought of
Yeah.
that one.
Oh no, maybe is that yeah, after he sees his girlfriend get sent up into the ceiling.
Yeah,
That was uncomfortable for me. I don't know
that,
about you,
that
but
was not good. Yeah.
no. No.
All right.
Definitely a short scene though, so that was good.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That was our brief retrospective onto our stupid little season we had last year, and as you can tell, we had a lot of fun. And even though we were kind of goofing on these things, we really did enjoy covering these movies, good or bad. They turned out really well. We're very proud of our last season. Really, since the start of our show, we felt we've got better. You guys can argue to some point. You're probably right, but it's just been a joy doing this podcast. And like I said, we've had a very successful season. We just want to talk about some of the metrics here that you guys have helped us achieve. We mentioned a couple of shows ago, but if you didn't hear, we achieved a 68% growth in terms of downloads and subscriptions and follows this year. That's over
Woo.
the 25 movies since the last analytic look at that. So you guys really helped us out there. So thank you so much. This is not a lot of people know this, but we have topped out at rank 124 on Apple iTunes for the film and TV section of their podcast. That's out of 7,500. So we're ranked 124 out of 7,500 or so
Wow.
of those.
Moving up the charts.
Moving right up the charts. We're so happy that we've had this kind of trajectory on our listenership. And again, that's just all thanks to you guys spread the word about this dumb show. So thank you very much for that. We'd like to break into the 100s this year and get some Patreon stuff starting at some point with some special content especially for those of you that have been around since the beginning. But we've had a really fun year. So if you want to check out more about this show, I doubt you would after after our summation of it. But you can check us out on our Instagram page. That's at Grumpy Nostalgia. We always have upcoming shows and previews, and we show clips and things like that, so you can see what's coming and you see what you're missing. So you can check that out there. If you ever feel inclined to send us an email, you can reach out to us at nostalgiagrumps@gmail.com. We are currently YouTubers now. What we're doing is we're taking our show and making video companions and putting those up on YouTube. But I'm also proud to announce within the next couple of weeks here, we should have all of our audio podcasts uploaded to the YouTube channel as well. So if you're at work and you want to look busy, you can click on YouTube and you can click on our audio podcast. And you can get all of our entire catalog was uploaded this week. I'm
Cool.
just doing all the dumb little thumbnails and getting them uploaded, but it's the audio version. But that will be all 60 or so of our shows will be uploaded on YouTube. You can check it out there as well. So it's just some other final numbers on season 3, Mike, in terms of our most popular shows. I thought this was really interesting. So The Princess Bride was our biggest show in terms of listenership. We want to thank our friend Dr. K for bringing that to us. Our next number two, Mike, was Spirited Away. And we want to thank
wow.
our friends at Secondhand Nostalgia, Emmy and Janice, for bringing that to us.
Hmm.
Our third biggest download was The Truman Show. That was our number one biggest shared one on Spotify. And that's thanks to Molly. Our old friend Molly brought that to us. So nice job there. Con Air was number 4, and Ghostbusters was number 5, brought to us by our good friend Aaron. So all of our guests have some cachet, Mike. They're podcast gold. When they bring in the movie, it turns out to be pretty good. So
Yeah.
they're bringing their friends, bringing their listeners, and that's why we're so thankful of our co-hosts for this year and for all you guys listening. We really want to thank you for joining in. And to top it all off, Headbang and Mosh Pit's Halloween episode was the biggest one for Halloween. So
Nice.
we captured magic in a bottle, like with our co-host friends, and we look forward to working with those guys in season 4. Some other things
Yeah.
coming in season 4 we're very excited about. We'll have a lot more video content put up on YouTube. That's if I can ever get some free time on the weekends. The video game release schedule is pretty slow this weekend, so this year, so I should get more videos up to YouTube. We're going to be looking at a couple new quote unquote new movies, some instant nostalgia movies based on your guys' picks. We're going to go out and see real movies in the theaters and give you our opinions on those, so you can see if we're worth our salt as reviewers
Wow.
whatsoever. Yeah,
In an actual theater, huh?
yeah.
Wow.
We've got some collaborations with some other podcasters, hopefully lining up here relatively soon. So you'll either hear them on our show or we'll be going on their show. We'll make sure you guys get the heads up on that. And we're going to introduce a couple other elements of the show this year, hopefully. We're going to call them mini episodes, but they're going to be shorter, little 30-minute episodes that you can kind of listen to really quickly. That may be a little more focused, maybe break a little format a little bit, and we focusing on some tighter content, and we'll be putting out some Insta polls to see what you guys want us to talk about in terms of those too. But that's all coming up in season 4, which will come out somewhere early February, and we're very excited to bring that to you as well. So Mike, you did a great job this year. Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's going to kind of wrap it up for our glorious season 3. We did not go out on the bank we wanted to, but we got some stuff off our chests. we're holding in for a long time, I think. So
Yeah, I think, like I said, this was kind of, for at least for me, I felt like this was our good side. I think we need to probably go to the bad side, maybe in a future episode. And,
yeah, we're going to get right back to
maybe air some grievances of how we feel
Yeah.
about certain things.
We got a lot of problems with you people.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're gonna take it out on you for season 4.
Yep. Well,
All right.
I'm on my way to an after party, Justin, because I need to empty my thigh pads, and I am Jack's full bladder.
Well, I can't top that, so I'm not going to try. So for Mike James, this is Justin, and we will see you again next season.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great!
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!